Welcome to a new video, relatively spontaneous video about the new announcement by Huawei, where they announced today the release of the P60 series as well as the Mate X3 and a few other things. But I want to focus my attention on the smartphones here. I will mention at the end also the smartwatch that they presented, but there are lots and lots of other things, just like, for example, new FreeBuds and so on that they also announced, but it just would be too long of a video. Anyway, that's the new event, and here you can see the main points that Huawei was investing into, the main points of also innovation they did in the last couple of years. XMage is their image processing pipeline. Kunlun Glass is their new replacement a little bit for ultra strong glass protection for the screen. Then they have also their satellite communication and of course Harmony OS in version 3. And what they presented now is the brand new P60 series. As you can see here, it has very rounded edges, which looks very, very interesting. So completely different from all the other phones that on other manufacturers that try to copy Apple in a way with very straight kind of lines. We have a very, very round design here. We can see that the display has been upgraded on the P60 Pro and P60. It's a 6.67-inch OLED screen, which is slightly bigger than the previous version, especially for the P60 model that always was a little bit, the P50 model that was always a bit smaller, the normal model. We have an LTPO display, so it can refresh from 1 to 120 Hertz, which is very, very cool because it can save a lot of battery power. We have the P3 color gamut. We have HDR P3 and HDR Vivid. HDR Vivid is a Chinese standard, I think, in this case. And we have 1440 Hertz PWM dimming, which is also pretty cool, especially in lower lights. If you have some issues with the flickering of OLED screens, this shouldn't be an issue at all. You can see here they also did, of course, comparisons with the iPhone 14 Pro Max here in this case, and they say in bright daylight conditions it gives you a crystal clear image, much better, and also in a lower light as well. And here you can see the Hertz technology from 1 to 120 Hertz LTPO, which saves 29% of battery, which is pretty cool and awesome. Here you can see the various different options that are available where it can jump through. And then of course it is Kunlun Glass, the strongest glass ever. I think it was a special version for the Mate 50 Pro still, and I think it is now getting to be the standard version for the P60 release. And of course the P60 is appearing in various different colors. This is one of those colors. Another one in black. Here we can see also the camera setup that we have, which looks, if you would turn it around, like a little panda or koala bear kind of face. And a white version as well, as you can see here. And here are the various different versions that you can get, even a green version. All of them are non-glossy, which is very interesting, so should not attract fingerprints. And those are the Pro version. This is, by the way, the normal version, and the Pro version has the same kind of colors. You can see not much of a difference there in terms of the setup. And this is everything together. For the normal P60 series, you can see IP68 or IP68 water and dust resistant, which is pretty nice indeed. And then we're talking about some new XMage innovations that Huawei did, and one of them is a new periscope zoom mechanism that they invented and put into the Huawei P60 and P60 Pro especially. Here we can see the normal model that also has the main camera here. It's an RYYB 48 megapixels, f1.4 to f4. We know this already. The f1.4 to 4 aperture, variable real aperture from the Mate 50 Pro, but this is another sensor because we have 48 megapixels. I'm assuming it's a 1/1.4 inch type sensor, newer sensor, new Sony IMX sensor. We have a 13 megapixel ultra wide angle f2.2 Also RYYB, which is pretty interesting. So this is the new color filter array that Huawei uses to gain more light, especially have lower ISO even in dim lit situations. We have a LED dual tone flash. We have a periscope zoom, 12 megapixels, RYYB, 5 times optical zoom, which is quite okay, I would say, for the default standard version, and it offers up to 100 times zoom. Of course, it's a digital crop, and you know that the 100 times will not be useful, but I could imagine like 10, 12 times can still be useful here. You can see 13 to 1350 millimeters. Then we can see here the mechanism for the new sensor and the variable aperture. You can see that's the RYYB sensor now that they use here, and it gives roughly 191% more light intake than with an iPhone 14 Pro Max, just because it's RYYB, and we have the variable aperture that can go to f1.4 opening, which is pretty interesting and dope as well. Here you can see it as well, the aperture, real aperture blades there. Probably not 100% how it will look like, but very, very close to this. Now we have the Pro variant here that has some significant differences. First of all, let's take a look at the same kind of things. So we have 48 megapixel main sensor is the same. The ultra wide angle is also the same. The 48 megapixel RYYB f2.1 sensor is new here. It's the new telescope periscope zoom lens, 3.5 times zoom, 48 megapixels, new Sony IMX sensor, and f2.1 is a very, very large opening for this RYYB, and at least Huawei claims to have the biggest light intake for periscope zoom. If this is true, looking at Oppo Find X6 Pro right now, I'm not sure. They will offer 200 times zoom from 13 millimeters to 2700 millimeters. I'm not sure if this is really useful there, because this would mean that 100 times zoom might be usable. We will have to see. They also didn't show so much of those very, very large kind of zoomed in shots. But here you can see the mechanism that they're using, which has 488% more light intake than on the iPhone. And here they describe how they develop the prism. You can see the left is the normal one and right is the newer one, where they put like a dome kind of glass on it to have a bit more of light intake. And here we have some sample shots, and what they did mostly is like compare 10 times zoom. Here you can see this is how it will look like at 1 times zoom, and when you zoom 10 times in, it's the comparison against the iPhone. You can see the HDR is much better, colors are much better, and of course when we take a look at the next picture, it is much clearer in terms of details as well in comparison to the iPhone. So they were comparing with the iPhone. I'm not sure if a comparison with the Oppo or with the Xiaomi would show the same. But here they were also comparing their 10 times zoom periscope lens in moon shots, which is very interesting. So they optimized their camera to detect the moon even in such shots where you have some other buildings in between, and you can see the iPhone fails there with overexposure, as well as the S23 Ultra, and only the P60 Pro is showing a nice shot here. So they optimized this. I think this was also in some leaks. What is very cool is even in 5 lux, very dim lit situations, this new f2.1 aperture on the periscopic zoom is helping here. Also, the possibility to have like 10 centimeter close focusing distance allows you to have a true telemacro camera on the P60 Pro, which is very, very interesting. As you can see here, the iPhone cannot compete against the details and clarity of the P60 Pro. And here it's also very interesting to take pet photos that are very closed up and have nice bokeh background with the periscope zoom, and other things here as well that you can do close-up shots of. And then they're also praising themselves for the ultra wide angle that is almost distortion free here in comparison with the iPhone. So even if you do a group selfie or group photo, it's much more distortion free. They also have a new color sensor which allows them to take better pictures of difficult things to photograph. Here you can see this metal that has been photographed with various different devices, the iPhone 14 Pro Max, the S23 Ultra. You can see they're not getting the image there, And on the left, by the way, this is the original image taken probably with another digital camera of some sorts. And yeah, the P60 Pro is the only one that comes close to this. Maybe a little bit too saturated in my opinion, but yeah, it comes very, very close to this one. Yeah, then I had to take this in because it's Cologne Carnival. Yes, they were also photographing Cologne Carnival near the cathedral with the Huawei P60 Pro, which is very interesting. You can see some f2.1, so that's the aperture. This is really the zoom shot, and they were taking it at ISO 50 and 1/80th of a second. And yeah, you can see 20th of February they were taking it at roughly 1 o'clock. So very, very cool that they have this shot of Cologne Carnival there as well. 4x shot at night. This is now video mode. They were like comparing at 4x. This is where it switches to the periscope zoom. Before it is, because it's always a bit cropped in, it is using the main lens. You can see with the iPhones 4x much more clarity in video. And it can also be used for video macro mode, which is very interesting, not only photography but also macro mode. And here you can see all the features again. You can use some translation tool for getting all the features, but yeah, you have the possibility to photograph pets, 200x zoom, f1.4 aperture for the main camera. XD Fusion Pro is their pipeline for images. And of course, they're also talking about satellite communication. They have a new communication system which allows the Huawei P60 to communicate in 2 ways. So basically, something like SMS over satellites is possible. You can write and receive notifications. They have better antennas built in that raise the sensibility here. And then, as you can see here, we have a 4850 milliampere hour battery together with the LTPO display. This should lead to even better run times than on the Mate 50 Pro. They have 88 watts fast charging via cable and 50 watts fast charging wirelessly, which is pretty cool and awesome. And they have a new charger that they include, which is very, very nice, a max 88 watt charger that has USB-A and USB-C together. So yeah, some people are complaining that they're still using USB-A, but this one is, I think, dual connectivity possibilities. Like you can charge your phone and you can charge your laptop with this one. I think it marks the first transition to a USB-C only charging mechanism here, but this is, I think, that will surprise certain people. Then of course we have HarmonyOS 3.1 running there on this system, on the P60, the main system. It has some new features here, everything a little bit rounded and refined, animations especially, and we have new lock screens and lock screen animations that you can adjust there, which is everything also in 3D effects and animations. Very, very cool indeed. And yeah, this is security. They're also of course working with security, so they have like more and more blocked virus attempts or app attempts that carried virus or malicious kind of software, and yeah, they're praising themselves here. I think this is only for the Chinese market, not so important. But then very importantly and a bit unexpected, they also released a new P60 Art Edition, which has a different kind of design, where you can see, if I turn it around, looking more and more like a koala now. And this is a special edition, basically something that Honor would call an ultimate edition, which looks like this. There are different colors. This is one of them, and there's another one, and here you can see it. It's supposed to be like an island, maybe some kind of joke or play on Apple. Anyway, this new one has also XDR Fusion, has almost everything the same, but also the RYYB 48 megapixels, but offers also a 40 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide angle, so not a 13.1 that we have on the normal Pro model. So it has a slightly changed setup here. And this is not everything. They also announced the Mate X3, which is a successor of the Mate X2 that we didn't see globally. This is the one that is an in-folding foldable. Here you can see the display. You can see that they have the camera, the inside camera there on the top right corner now. And it's this is the back. You can see, reminds me a bit of a poker phone for the design. So yeah, very interesting, very solidly built. You can see we have a fingerprint reader on the side, and we have a volume rocker there on the side as well. It's a very thin and lightweight device. And yeah, of course, they're praising their new mechanism for opening and closing it up. The camera system as well, which is very, very interesting as well. It's not as good as the P60 camera, but it is a good camera. Yeah, very, very thin and lightweight, dual speaker setup. This is how it will look like when you hold it in your hand in a closed up state. It has a Kunlun glass on the front as well for protecting the display, and on the inside we have 1000 nits in brightness, peak brightness. We have 8 to 7.1 aspect ratio and a very high resolution, and 7.85 inch screen inside, which is very good. I think 120 Hertz refresh rate. Here you can see the screen in action. You can see very bright and clear. Could be one of the best foldable screens. And here you can see more information about the screens as well, like the outer screen has 6.4 inch. It's an OLED screen, of course. Has also 1080p stretched, 426 ppi. Both screens inside and outside have 1440 Hertz PWM dimming and 120 Hertz. The outside one, however, is an LTPO display, saves a lot of energy. The inside, however, it's not stated as LTPO, so I think it can switch between 60 and 120 Hertz, but it's not, maybe even 90 Hertz, but it's not LTPO. It's very, very thin, one of the thinnest laptops, tablets or foldables on the market, and also very lightweight. Here's the comparison with the iPhone 14 Pro Max. You can see it's 1 gram lighter than that. And yeah, also the hinge mechanism, they also managed to reduce the components there to make it lighter, which is something that's very, very similar to what we saw on the Honor as well. And here you can see also the USB-C, how small and thin it is, so it's like just the USB-C type can fit in. They have a new generation of water drop, I think it's called hinge, yeah, and the new hinge mechanism here that allows folding the phone more times. Kunlun glass on the front, as I told you. They have a new plastic protection foil there as well for the inside display that is now protected against lots of stuff as well. And they did even a video where they let that drop and let several things drop on this plastic screen, and did not leave any scratches or marks. They have IPX8 water protection. It's not dust proof, but it's at least waterproof there. The new, I think one of the first foldables besides Samsung that has this IPX8 waterproof. And yeah, featherlight, very cool design. Here you can see the camera setup. We have a periscope zoom camera 5 times. We have a 50 megapixel main camera, and we have like I think 13 megapixel ultra wide angle as well. Rounded edges there as well that help if you let it let it out of your pocket, and it's falling to the ground, not to shatter completely. Yeah, we have a white version here. We have also this grayish kind of blackish version. We have a kind of bluish kind of version, and kind of like beige version, and a green version as well. So lots and lots of colors here as well for the Mate X3. This is the normal Mate X3, and there will be another Mate X3 version, which will be like a more exclusive version, I think, with more upgraded internal space for I think 512 gigabytes, and then we will have 1 terabyte in the upgraded version. We have NFC for communication. We have various different ways of communications here. NFC for very, very close up. Then we have some other communications here, 30 centimeters. I think this is Bluetooth. And we have for especially Bluetooth with sound. We have Wi-Fi 6 Plus, and we have other ways, mobile communication, and then satellite communication. This is what they also will add into the Mate X3. And of course, Wi-Fi 6 Plus, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz are supported here, and they have like less latency, like 77% less latency than on the iPhone 14 Pro when using Wi-Fi. And yeah, 50 watt wireless charging is also now possible, so not only fast quick wired charging, but also I think 88 watt as well wired charging, but also quick wireless charging on this device, which is also pretty nice. They have, of course, then the 1% mode that turns itself on when the phone reaches 1%, and then we have like up to 3 hours, 3 days, I don't know, long battery life afterwards. A new cooling mechanism that allows the heat dissipation, 20% more heat dissipation, and here you can see 66 watt, not 80 watt 88 watt, 66 watt wired charging, 50 watt wireless charging, new heat pipe, satellite communication. Yeah, and X-Match, of course, on board. Here you can see the camera system. So we have a 30 megapixel ultra wide angle. We have a 12 megapixel periscope, 5x zoom, f3.4. That's the same basically as on the P60, I think. And we have a 50 megapixel RYB f1.8 sensor. This is probably the same that we had in the P50, not in the P60. And yeah, 100x zoom. So it's a bit of a downgrade to the P60, but still very, very good. You can see it even more closed up. Very, very good for, I think, a foldable phone. And here you can see some other specs to this one. RYB, 40% more light intake thanks to the RYB sensor, 5x zoom. Very, very cool indeed. And yeah, here you can see you can prop it even up, so it has some kind of standing mode where you can have then a timer running for taking photos, which is pretty cool indeed. And the X-Match processing here, you can also see like they have the camera adapted to it, the software also adapted to this, and running HarmonyOS 3.1 with lots and lots of features adapted to this, like for example also split view, not only left and right, but also the possibility to split the software top and bottom. And there's some certain software optimized already, just like this is the video player here, for example, where you can swipe on this surface area to scroll through the video, for example. The camera app will have this, as well as some other applications that will be optimized for this. You can have, like, for example, a chat window open and a game playing in the background, which is pretty nice, and split keyboard as well. Now this is more targeted towards, so you can see Celia keyboard here, targeted towards the Chinese market. Also Chinese apps were more optimized for this kind of mode. Here you can see the various kind of optimizations here. Also for video calls, they adapted the UI, and here you can see it as well, like in a presentation video. Then there will be a new version out there. This is the premium edition or exquisite edition that will be available in this, like, I think it is some kind of beige or white and greenish kind of color, that has a larger battery, 5060 milliampere hour battery. This is the same battery tech that Honor was bragging about for the ultimate version, and 1 terabyte internal space. So this is the premium version of this. It will come with this stand, as you can see here. So as a case, you can use it as a stand as well. You can see it's the normal version, and there's even a version that will cover the front display as well if you like to do this. And there you can see the fingerprint reader on the side as well. And yeah, let's go to the prices. These are the prices for the Art model, and here the prices for the cases for this and other adapters. And these are the various different devices that they presented. And these are the prices for the P60 model as well as the P60 Pro that you can see there, and the P60 Art. Then what they also showed is a watch, a new Ultimate watch, and then just shortly tell you about the Ultimate watch that will have like 2 different color variants. This is one of the color variant. Then there's a black version as well. It's an LTPO 1.5-inch display, so also very good refresh rate and battery life. It has now 3 buttons there, 1 crown that you can, is it called crown? Yeah, crown, where you can swipe through the menus as well. And yeah, this is the blue variant, looks like this with a silver band, and there's a black version with, I'm not sure if it's leather, as well as a version, I think, for females as well here in the middle, that is a tad smaller. I think they also will have this kind of thing. Yeah, here's some more information about how durable this whole is, how waterproof this is. You can dive with this. So basically it's the direct attack on Apple regarding this. And here you can see also the waterproofing that they created there, especially for the watch. That's basically everything for this Huawei P60 launch event and the Mate X3 launch event. Which of those devices is more interesting for you? Of course, Huawei also presented, I think, the FreeBuds Pro 2i or Plus version that has, like, I think now temperature sensor inside, or heart rate sensor inside of the earbuds. Interesting, but the rest of the technology is the same. So yeah, that's everything for this. What do you think? Are those interesting devices? Would you like them to also appear on the global market? Are you willing to import those for your country or not? Write it down in the comment section. That's everything for this short little video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until the next time. Bye.